So far, so good. We don't have a lot of depth at this time. Pointer Ford has really done a solid job for us. He's been playing for us for 2 years now. He's going back from a freshman to last year's a sophomore. He's having a good spring for us. He's healthy. He's ready to go. Chris Nelson is another young man who had quite a few reps last season as a redshirt freshman. He's doing a good job. He's starting to understand his role and that he's going to play for us. Paul Boyette, who's played a lot of ball around here. He's doing a good job. We really have those three guys that are playing for us right now. Then we have Jake. Jake is another guy who hadn't really played a lot around here, so that's our two deep for right now. So we're missing, we're going to miss Hassan a little bit, and we're going to miss Tank. But at the end of the day, the next guys need to step up and get ready to play.
Vance, when you practice against this tempo and you're thin on the D-line, how much do you and Coach Haley have to manage, guys' reps, and then how much do you just have to tell guys, hey, you're what we got, and you got to push through it?
We started off just training the guys on how to practice. I started off with the one defense. You get 3 plays, and we rotate out. I increased it to 5 plays, so I'm building up the guys to be conditioned to play that way. When we got in the scrimmage, I just let the guys go play Saturday. They had I think a 14-play drive. See, twice on third down, we off the field, we had 2 penalties. You rest by getting off the football field on third down. So we're training our guys to play against up-tempo and be conditioned to fight through it.
That's how fast are those guys playing? And at least tempo-wise, does it compare to TCU's and Baylor's in terms of how fast they're going?
It's a lot like both of those teams. It's fast. And the biggest thing we're stressing as a defensive staff is a sense of urgency. The first thing you do is get the call. Next thing you do is get lined up. And the third thing you do is go play hard. And we've seen those things. We've gotten better as we've gotten into practice, and I think it's starting to pay dividends. We must have a sense of urgency and play fast, get our hand in the dirt, and go play.
When you look at a guy like Malik, he had a spring practice in him before his freshman year, but now that he's got a full year, what do you expect to see from him on the field after a full year in college?
A lot of times you see young guys who might have had a good freshman year. You say they get the sophomore blues. Well, we don't have time for that because we're going to play a lot of sophomores this year. You're not just Malik. You look at Holton Hill. You look at Devontae Davis. You look at Wheeler. It's a lot of guys who are going to be sophomores. And Malik right now is taking the ownership of being a leader. As far as how he carries himself, talking to the team, doing the right things on and off the football field. We need to continue to see him make plays on the football field. You have to more or less put him in a position where, what does he do best? If it's rushing off the edge, well, guess what? If we have 10 snaps, 4 snaps, going to have him rushing off the edge. We're going to put our playmakers in position to make plays for us this season.
Vance, going against this offense in practice, how much do you expect that to help you against the other teams in the Big 12?
What you're going to find out as you look across this conference and you look at Baylor, TCU, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, they're all up-tempo. And you look and see how do their defenses adjust? How do their defensive plays against these particular offenses? And we got to look at ourselves in the same way. How can we be different from anyone else? A lot of teams in the conference defensively play over quarters. We don't play over quarters here. People know we've been a single high team. We play some quarter, half, and we're going to pressure. That's what we do. So we've had an opportunity to slow teams down as far as up-tempo-wise because of what we do. And hopefully we continue to do those things and do it better, a lot better than what we did this past season because we weren't very good this past season.
Let's go back to Malik real quick. We know what he's done and we know what kind of person he is, but are you guys as a coaching staff very comfortable in pushing him as the face of the program?
That's up to Coach Strong. I'm pushing a lot of guys as the face of the program. He has to make that decision. As I told the guys the other day, what is a leader? If you look around and nobody's following you, you're definitely not a leader. And so we're looking for guys at each position to step up. Linebackers, defensive line, secondary, offensive line, we need those guys. And I'm from the old school of thought, our leaders need to come from our offensive line and defensive line first. You win with big guys. When big guys step up and become your leaders of your team, I think now you see a team that's ready to take off.
Coach, I know there's questions on defensive line, but back 7 with your linebackers and the quarterbacks, how talented is that group right now?
We have a lot of potential right now. You look at the corners that we have. I think we have, 4 or 5 guys can come in and play. And the thing we've been talking about as a staff is this. As I've been doing research and the rest of the defensive staff, people are playing a lot of guys. It's not just up front anymore. I look at Alabama, they play maybe 10 defensive linemen. Clemson played 9 defensive linemen. But I'm also seeing people playing 8 defensive backs. They playing 4 to 6 linebackers. And we need to build depth that way. And we do have some young talent in the back end. The key thing, they are young. Therefore, we need to rotate guys. For example, I'm trying to tell the kids right now, Devontae Davis is playing well for us. Hollywood is playing well for us. Chris Boyd, guess what? You're a starter too. You might not start the game, but if you have the hot hand in the game, you might give 45 snaps to Devontae Hollywood getting 40 snaps. So they're all the starters right now, and that's how they have to look at it. You need to play numbers to play against these up-tempo offenses getting 80 to 100 plays a game.
Vance, what is a guy like Jake McMillan giving you? I know that you're thin right now. You got 4 scholarship DTs.
Jake has done a good job for us. He's a technician. He's a fighter, a scrapper. He's a guy that takes great coaching. He does the details of the game, how you want the details to be played. And because of that, he's done some good things for us this spring. He's battling those guys. He's fighting. He's not getting knocked off the ball. When he asks the guys to blitz, he's getting penetrations. He's winning his one-on-ones. So far, I'm excited to see what Jake has done for us.
Vance, one of your players said that a couple days ago you guys went 70 plays in 10 minutes, something like that. Is that a beautiful thing to watch? Is that an ugly thing to watch? How's that?
Well, those guys living in fantasy land because 70 plays in 10 minutes is virtually impossible. So it might have been 25 to 30 plays, but it was not 70 plays. Sometimes our guys, they get a little bit winded because they are going at an up-tempo pace. But for the most part, we've been excited as a staff to see those guys because we talk every day about a sense of urgency. Get out there, get set, let's communicate. Can we count to 3? If we can do that, we can get in line. If we do that, we can play fast, we can make plays. And we've improved every day. We need to continue to make those strides. I told the guys yesterday we didn't play very well in practice. We didn't. We kind of took a day off defensively. We can't ever allow that to happen. We didn't get better yesterday, we got worse. And with a young team, that can never happen. You got to keep taking those steps in the right direction.
What kind of progress are you seeing from Wheeler and Hager?
Wheeler has taken big steps. He and Hager both started, against Baylor last game of the year. Wheeler's taken gigantic steps. When you look at a linebacker as far as physical and mental toughness, you see Wheeler doing those things. You see him pass drop, Wheeler's been in the right spots. You see an offensive lineman trying to get off and block him, he can two-gap a guy and get going. When I look at Hager's a guy, I want to pressure a guy, quarterback look out because he's coming full speed ahead. He's one of our best blitzers. He has a long way to go as far as pass drops right now. But as far as run fits, as far as blitzing, he's our best blitzer, to be honest, as a linebacker. Again, you remember he played defensive end in high school. He has some defensive end pass rushing skills. So when he's in the game, we find ways to get him involved in rushing the passer because he's caused some havoc. We had a goal line scrimmage yesterday, and we were struggling at the defensive end. We put his hand down in the dirt. Oh, my goodness. That's how it's supposed to look. It was a car wreck going every kind of ways, and we said that's his spot because he plays with reckless abandon. We got to find what he does and then let him go do it.
Coach, can you just maybe give us an idea? Are you happy with going up against this offense at all times? Sometimes I've read that maybe you're not as happy at having to face it. Can you just?
Well, yeah, I don't know where you heard that from, but you didn't hear it from me. I can promise you that because I hadn't talked. When the last time I talked about football in anybody? I could tell you when, the Baylor game. I talked to Longhorn Network on signing day because they asked about recruiting, but I haven't talked to anybody about anything at that time. So for me personally, it's about having a sense of urgency. This gets us ready for the season. Now, when we're not going against the offense and our individual period and our group work is working on fundamentals. So now when we're going against our offense and the up-tempo thing, I think it's going to benefit us. I really do. Because, again, I keep going back to the things we've been stressing is this. When I say sense of urgency, get your butt out there, get set, communicate, play with great discipline, and get to the football. The guy I want to talk about is Jason Hall. The last 2 practices, 1 a scrimmage and 1 yesterday. He did a great job in stripping the football, things we're trying to stress. You know, when you have this type of offense, one of the things you got to do a great job of is getting turnovers. You got to get takeaways. You know, I look at the University of Oregon the past several years, and I look at them defensively and offensively. They have been one of the top teams in the country, you know, on and off for the past few years in takeaways. And it gives you a chance to play better defense because you need to get takeaways to get the ball back for the offense. And those are the things that I see that we're trying to get better at this time. Stripping the football, interceptions, those type of things.
That's a guy who you probably want to see some productivity out of.
Jason Hall? No doubt. You know, he's been here for a while right now. He's been a big hitter. Now it's time for him to take the next step. And that next step is understanding the game. You know, he cannot rely on my man Haynes to get him a line. He now needs to take a leadership role and have an idea what to do, how to fit the run, how to read your keys and do those things right. And he's had a good spring so far, so he's heading in the right direction right now.
Is Jason Hall kind of representative of a lot of guys on this defense? You took your hits with a bunch of true freshmen, and now you're starting to see, or hoping to start to see the rewards in this 3rd season?
Yeah, yes, we are. You know, Jason Hall, remember, I think he started 7 games as a true freshman. And Dylan Haynes started that same year as a walk-on, as a guy who started 7, 8 games. And we're starting to see progress. And what I mean by that is that communication. We need to do a better job of talking to each other, talking things out. And the one thing for us, everything's a number count. It's like 1, 2, 3. If I'm a linebacker, I have to relate to number 3. If I'm a defensive back, I relate to number 2. You'll be amazed sometimes we have a hard time counting to 3. And we can get that done. That means we can get a line properly. And we communicate and count 1, 2, 3, and sometimes 4, I think we'll be okay.
When you look back at last year, how much of the mistakes and errors were chalked up to inexperience, and looking back, how much of it was, did you see guys just could have done something different, or there were things that could have been corrected regardless?
You know, it's a lot of things that happened last year. We had some key guys early on nicked up inside. We had guys in position to make plays that didn't make a play. There's nothing you can do about that. You have a guy sitting right there in the hole, one-on-one, make a tackle, you got to get him down. We missed too many tackles last year. And the one thing about going against spread teams, sometimes you're going to have one-on-one plays. And when you do, those guys need to be in position to make those plays. You go to our first year here, Diggs made those plays. Malik made those plays. Jordan Hicks made those plays. This past year, guys in the same position, they didn't make those plays. So we need to be better in space this year. And I think we are. I think we are because the guys going to be a little bit older. I think we are because we have a little bit more depth. We got to develop more depth. We got to keep guys a little bit fresher by playing more guys. You know, we have some young guys going in. I look at a guy like Jordan Elliott, incoming freshman. He's 320 pounds. He's going to play as a freshman. He needs to give us 20 good snaps a game. We have those kind of guys coming in here. McCullough coming in, I think he is 225, 230 linebacker. Guess what? We need to get 20 snaps from him this year. He needs to be able to rest Malik, or rest Wheeler, or rest Tim Cole, or rest Hager. So we need those guys to come in and give us some depth, because in the 4th quarter, if you go into a game and your defensive players have played 70 plays going to the 4th quarter, you're in trouble. And I listen to these guys who run up-tempo offense. Their whole philosophy is this: we need to get 90, 80 to 100 plays a game. We need to just get them tired. So in the 4th quarter, we can run them, because their legs going to be tired. That means for us defensively, we can't let our guys go out there and play 80 snaps. We got to cut that down to 60 snaps. How do you do that? You have to play young guys.
On the subject of tackling, nationwide, it seems like there's more and more coaches talking about how you don't tackle as much in practice anymore and how you try to avoid that. Do you think there's enough tackling in practice, and how have you seen that change kind of over the years?
You know, the biggest change you see from now to 10 years ago, everything's spread out. So right now, everything is one-on-one tackling. You go back 10 years ago, how many people spread you out? You had 12 personnel, you had 21 personnel, you had 22 personnel. If you go to the SEC and you go to the Big Ten, I say half the teams are still doing that. And so you see people say, well, the SEC, you got guys more NFL ready. You got more of 12 personnel and those type of things. They're not spreading you out one-on-one, so therefore you have game tackling. Now you're in space, you need guys to be more athletic, so they're able to come to balance in space and get a guy down. And that's where you're missing things at is that. So now when you work on tackling, you have to teach a different style of tackling. When I was at Florida and Chuck Keeter was with me, we worked in the secondary, we spent a lot of time on low tackle. And we had guys who did a great job in space. Now people say it's a hawk tackle. Say, well, the Seattle Seahawks got this new tackling. People been low tackling a long time ago. Back in 1982, I'm with the St. Louis Cardinals, and my defensive coordinator was Coach Peters. He said, I got a bunch of midgets in the secondary. He had the whole defense line up across the field, work on low tackling. It's nothing new. Low tackling been taught since the day we started playing football. And what you see across the nation right now, when I watch the championship games and I watch the Super Bowl, everybody's low tackling right now. So in space, instead of hitting them up in the chest, everything's the same. Drop your hips, shorten your stride, take their out of it, and now shoot their legs. Trying to tackle high in space sometimes, you're seeing a lot of missed tackles. Athletes are too good right now.
During the year, during the season, how many days per week do you tackle in practice?
We're going to tackle on Tuesday. We go against the running backs a lot. The receivers go against the DBs, and we live tackle in practice. You know, Coach Strong, that's a firm believer of him, to do anything well, you have to practice at it. And we don't necessarily always take them to the ground, and because we always have on the bottoms, but again, it's getting in the proper position to make plays. And we're going to continue to do those things. You have to work on it. You don't have to take guys to the ground to tackle. It's about getting a fit position, wrapping up, and now you have a chance to have success in space.
Coach, I know everyone's asked you about facing the offense in practice, but talk about facing some of those offensive skill guys like the Chris Warren, talking about tackling, Dante Foreman, John Burke, Colin Johnson. I mean, as a defensive guy, how does it help your team? And can you talk about that other side also?
I told our defense Saturday before we got ready to practice, and I told the defense this, man, I said, I don't know how we're going to tackle our two big backs. Now, you're talking about two backs, they both are 240. Foreman probably goes 4.55. If he was sitting right here, you're going to say he runs faster than that, but I'll tell you right now, the man had too many Sippy donuts. He can't run like he did in high school. Okay, my man Warren is 244. And when he turns his shoulders now, it's like a Mack truck coming at you. So we have a hard time tackling our two big backs. I think that when you look at our conference here last year and you look at OU, they had two big backs. They had a lot of success because they ran the football with those two big bruisers. We have two big, pretty guys. I like our offensive line right now. They've been physical. They hit us in the mouth. I like the direction of our offense. I'm excited. I'm really excited about what I'm seeing from our offense because it's making us better defensively. And them two big backs, woo! And then I got my man Hollywood back there yesterday. He finally made a play. Man, my man Colin Johnson, it's like he been jumping out the gym. He been one-handed it right there like that. I thought LeBron was out there catching routes on us the other day. I mean, right now our skill set on offense is really, really good. And now we just have to have confidence. Because, again, there's a lot of young guys playing. Burt, as a freshman last year, made some big plays. He's also running track right now. He comes out there, and he's doing a great job. McNeil, 225-pound wide receiver that runs 4.55. I mean, as our skill set right now is making us a lot better on defense, going against those guys every single day. I mean, I get excited. I get chills just thinking about going against our guys, and the challenge that we have is getting us ready for what we got to face this season.
Vance, what are you seeing from Deshaun Elliott?
My man Deshaun. My man has the most confidence of anybody you're ever going to see. And if it's in the tight quarters, he is going to knock your helmet off. Now, my question is, can he get lined up? Like I tell those guys, and when I first got here, I don't say what I want to say, grape Gatorade. Not blue, but grape Gatorade. If he can't get a line, I don't ask him to give me the Gatorade on game day. It's not hard with me. It's not high school where you fly around and hit somebody. You need to get a line, make the checks. Otherwise than that, we're going to be drinking Gatorade together. And that's where he is right now. I mean, I'm not into the guys who think they know it. Show me you know it. I'm not from Missouri, but show me right now what you can do by getting the right alignment, making the right checks. And if he does those things, he will play. If not, then he won't play. And he knows that already.
Vance, because y'all are young, how do you as a coach handle mistakes that happen from inexperience?
I'm the same no matter if you've been here 1 year or 4 years. I'm going to chew you out just because. The name of the game that Coach Strong wants to stress in practice is that we want to make practice so hard that when you get to the game, there's no pressure. So if you make a mistake, they already know. You know, I didn't see this, but somebody saw me doing it. The play was going on. I was running on the field when the play was going on. Sometimes I have flashbacks. I don't have them too often, but every once in a while I do. So whether you're a freshman or whether you're a senior, I treat them all the same. You out there playing, you experience, period. Learn what to do and play hard and fast. And that's what we tell the guys right now. There are no excuses. Find out what to do so you go on the football field and play like you've been here for 3 or 4 years.
Vance, I don't know if you caught the comment from your boss, but do you feel like when you guys get this turn, you're going to steamroll everybody?
Well, see, I'm going to put my glasses up just like this. Now, I don't know who was there when he made those comments. Who could tell me exactly what he said? Who in here could tell me exactly what he said? Go ahead, I'm listening.
Brian can.
Go ahead.
He was talking about recruiting and said recruiting is going very well, and that was mentioned in that story. And then he went into his big, long address about it when he said if we get recruiting turned around like it's going this way, we're going to get all the recruits and we'll steamroll everybody. So I guess in his mind, he was talking about getting steamroll everybody in recruits.
There you go right there. Bam. There you go, because somebody asked him about the SEC and recruiting and all those type of things. Yeah, there you go right there. See, everything is blown out of proportion. So, you know, and I can't help myself. So, my man, somebody says, like, it's April Fool's Day. Beautiful thing. That's why I love some of the coaches in this conference, because I like when they speak out that way because they speak their mind. So at the end of the day, he was talking about recruiting, but he's right. It's like anything else. If you get the right players in here and they develop, and we get this thing going, we'll get University of Texas back where it's supposed to be. Right now, we're not there. So I'm with my boy down in Lubbock, Texas. It is definitely April Fool's Day. What day is it anyhow?
March 30th.
I'm 1 day off, so that's tomorrow or whenever it comes. So, but we head in the right direction.
To me, that was the big takeaway from that. And I told John this too. Charlie's confidence is striking, and I just got to believe that's how y'all as a staff feel where this is going.
Well, my man, Mr. Bowles, not here. He know how I am because he asks me every year. You know, I always think we're going to be better than what we are, so he always puts me back in my place. At the University of Texas, the expectations is to go out, to be dominant, and to win championships. That's the expectations, period. Are we there right now? No. Have we done it the last 2 years? Of course we have not. But that's the direction we're heading in right now. That's why you go out and recruit. Because for the last 2 years, and I don't go back to this year, I sit up here and everybody say, well, they finally came out with the poll about who's going to play in the national championship game, the top 4. That was about midway through the season. Anybody remember what I said? I said, we always bring things up. I said, just wait till the end of the season and see what happens. What happened? Oklahoma was there, weren't they? Again, I got asked this question about recruiting. Well, you guys not ranked very high in recruiting. You like 40th in the nation. I say, is recruiting over with us? Let's wait till the end of the season and see what happens. Everybody jumps the horn real fast in a bad way about, well, we midway with coach. You A, B, C, D. Now keep saying the thing. Just wait. Just wait.
Vance, what, Cam Townsend coming out of the red shirt, what kind of progress you seeing from him?
You know, he's taking the steps in the right direction. And he's a smart young man. He's athletic. I mean, Coach BJ loves him right now. He sees a lot of potential in him. I think this season he's going to be an outstanding special teams player for us. And that's how you have to start here. You know, if you are recruiting the right way, you have the right pieces in place, young guys should learn how to play this game. I've been on special teams. Because in here, they're bigger, faster, and stronger in college than in high school. And once we get the program going in the right direction, a lot of freshmen, you're going to play on special teams. And then when it's your time to play, you'll be ready to go. And this year, Cameron Townsend should be a great special teams player for us. He should be a core player on every special teams that we have. And if he does that, he has a chance to be a solid player for us, after that.
And Sherrod Evans, a guy who is coming back in his 6th year after 2 ACLs, what are you seeing from him?
He's had a really good spring. A year ago he came out for spring. He got hurt, I think, after about 2 practices, didn't get hit. Right now, he's a lot better now than what he was any time last year. His confidence is up. He's moving around extremely well. He's made some plays. He almost had an interception yesterday. I'll let him know he dropped that ball. He jumped up like he had the ball, but he dropped the ball. But he's making plays on the ball. He's trying to tackle. I have high hopes for him that he can help us out this season.
Vance, you mentioned signing day. Was it rewarding for you to see that a patient process can pay off like that? As opposed to people, as you mentioned, people freaking out about the results in September, October?
We knew some of those guys were going to make that decision. 1 or 2, we didn't know until signing date. But it is a slower process because right now, if you look across this country, I was driving to work this morning. Somebody said Florida State offered a guy who's an 8th grader. And that's what recruiting has gone to. It's like basketball. And you can make a lot of mistakes when you're trying to commit guys who are 3 years out, because sometimes they don't get any better. Then you have to make a decision that you have to let them go. We're at the University of Texas. We offer a kid, and he's only a sophomore. We can't pull off in the state because we are the satellite school. You're the University of Texas. If I was from out of state, you come in, I offer you, don't like what I see you're seeing. We just pull an offer because we want to go back in your school. Here at the University of Texas, we can't do that. And because of that, we are slow to offer. We're going to have a lot slower process to do a better job trying to evaluate to get the right guys in here. Now, we're going to still make mistakes. Of course we're going to make mistakes. But hopefully we cut the mistakes down when the majority of guys that we do get here are the right players for this program.
Coach, when you look time for 2 last ones? You guys signed, speaking of that, signed a lot of talented defensive linemen, a lot of defensive tackles. What's been your message to those guys who are off campus, and what's kind of your expectation of those guys when they do hit campus?
Tell them, get ready to play. If you're 300 pounds, you will play for us this coming season. You come in as a true freshman. Why? Because you're big. We are trying to develop guys to become big here. If you look at our defensive line right now, most of those guys were not naturally big guys. Poona's not a naturally big guy. We had to put weight on him. Chris Nelson, not a naturally big guy. Jake is not a naturally big guy. They were 280 coming out of high school. We had to bulk them up in the weight room, make sure we put a lot of food in front of them to get them to 300. We're now bringing in guys here are naturally big guys. They're already 310, 315. So because of their weight, they can hold a point. So those guys going to come in and play. Our expectations for those guys, I got to be honest with you, they're 20 snaps a game. 3 of those guys come in, I'm talking about 20 snaps a game. And I'm not talking about in the 4th quarter. I'm talking about in the 1st quarter, the 2nd quarter, 3rd. You're going to go out there and play. We need you today. We don't need you 6 weeks from now. We don't need you the next year. We need you to come play for us right now.
Who's your best pass rusher?
Best pass rusher. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for one of those guys to say, I'm your guy. We don't have a guy in practice that's shown me that right now. There's a lot of talk going on, but right now, we're not getting close to the quarterback. Somebody, I say, please, just show up. Somebody go be the guy one-on-one. If it's Malik, because we got a linebacker, okay, Malik, well, go show me something. If it's Hager, go show me something. Nashawn, go show me something. I mean, right now, we don't have that guy. We're waiting for a guy to show up. We didn't have that guy last year, and that's part of the issue. So therefore, you pressure a lot to develop a pass rusher out of bringing one more guy, or you twist and trying to get a guy free. We need guys that come in one-on-one. Right now, we don't have guys that have shown that ability.
Vance, I know a lot of names have been brought up and you discussed a lot of guys, but who's really impressed you with their development and their growth, I guess, from maybe last camp to where they are now?
Wheeler, P.J. Locke, Devontae Davis. Poona's been really good. Chris Nelson has really shined. those guys have taken a major step from a year ago. And that's not saying other guys have not, but those guys have shown a lot, and they're picking things up, and it shows on how they practice.
All set? Thank you.
Everybody's good. I appreciate your time, man.